So a while back, I made a video talking about Premiere Pro and using it on my 2009 MacBook Pro. Surprisingly, that video is actually about 3 years old now, but when I used it for the first time, I didn't really know how to use it. The MacBook Pro is very sluggish using something as beefy as Premiere, and I didn't have much basic software knowledge, so I didn't know to look in menus, I didn't know what different things were called, and my very first experience was pretty rough. I didn't know anything about export settings either, so I didn't even get a video out that was fully edited on Premiere Pro. But now I have Premiere Pro through school. I've been using Final Cut Pro for about 2 years now. I know more about filmmaking, so I know what different things do, I know what different things are called, and overall I can just navigate my way through the menus a little bit better. But I've gotten very comfortable editing in Final Cut. I've edited every single video in it since I got my 2013 MacBook Pro. I have the right keybind set. I can get videos out very quick with Final Cut Pro, and the Premiere ecosystem is wildly different than Final Cut. The way it flows, the way things function, where things are, so it's a big learning curve to get used to. Now I also made a video a while back when I first bought Final Cut why I bought it over Premiere. The biggest reason was because of the monthly subscription. I really despise the monthly subscription with the Adobe suite. If I could just buy it outright like I could Final Cut, I'd be using Adobe for the past 2 years. But instead of spending $300 once, if I spend $50 a month on the Adobe suite for the past 2 years, that's $1,200 I would have had to spend on just software. Whereas Final Cut, I've spent $300 and nothing more. Anyway, let's actually get into my first editing experience. Now jumping right in, it wasn't as hard as I initially thought it was. I was kind of concerned for how things would work. I was kind of concerned for where things were laid out and how I would not be able to find them. But it was a lot easier than I expected. I got the video out as you guys saw. And the big thing with Premiere is it may look very intimidating at first, but it's really not as you start to work with it. But very quickly I ran into my first problem. That was I could not micro adjust clips. Now what I mean by that, let's say I make a cut a second before I wanted to. In Final Cut Pro, I can simply drag that clip out and have no problem. Everything behind it moves, it just works. But in Premiere, it won't move for me. I don't know why I can't do it. There's gotta be a way, so just comment down below if you guys know. But I found that very annoying. I have to go in there, select everything, drag it back so I can make the adjustment to my clip, and it just seemed very inefficient. The other thing I found really weird is how I would unlink video and audio, because in Premiere Pro there's two separate tracks. There's the video, then there's the audio beneath it. And obviously for B-roll shots of certain products, I don't need the audio, so I just like to cut it out. But every time I'd have to go in there, right click, click unlink, and then unlink it that way. And I just think there's gotta be like a keybind or something that I can press so it just unlinks it automatically instead of having to go in there and do multiple clicks. And the other thing, the separate tracks. This isn't really a bad thing, but this is more my personal preference. I like in Final Cut Pro how it's all in one, because I rarely ever need separate tracks. And those are honestly the two huge problems that I ran into with Premiere. Everything else just worked and it kind of made sense to me. And obviously there's some things that were hidden and I'm like, well, why is that there? And there's buttons in weird places. But these are pretty much all just things that are happening because of my lack of experience with this software. The whole experience is just so different than Final Cut. The timeline in Final Cut, you have the magnetic timeline, which I've come to love. It saves so much time. You just make a cut, it instantly joins it together. In Premiere, that's not a thing. And I never realized how much I take that magnetic timeline for granted. But Final Cut definitely has its place, and I think my style of run and gun content creation is definitely a strong selling point of Final Cut. And as I said, the Adobe suite is the industry standard. You go into nearly every editing house, design studio, you name it, they're pretty much using the Adobe suite, just because the way it links together, everything just flows so smoothly between different Adobe apps, between different computers using the Adobe apps. So will I switch to Premiere Pro after school is done? Probably not, because I can't justify the every single month payment. I'd much rather just use Final Cut because it was one and done deal. But that's pretty much it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are new. Comment down below what editing software you use, and if you use Premiere, any tips, fixes, or things like that for the problems I'm personally having. But I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to like and subscribe if you are new. Peace out.